Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. It's a Thursday, so you know what that means. Not only are we 77 days away from NFL football, that's exactly 11 weeks, people. We have now entered officially, I'm about to say the 3-month mark, but no, that'd be 12. We've officially entered the 2-month mark and some days until NFL football. It's going to be getting here closer and closer before we know it. So without any further ado today, it's going to be very simple. I got like 4 things of news I want to go over, and then we are talking straight NFC South breakdown. We're going to finish with the Falcons and Panthers today. If you watched the last episode, I dabbled into the Panthers a little bit too much, so we're probably going to repeat a little bit of that on this episode, but shouldn't be too crazy. But like I said, let's get with this NFL news. First thing I want to bring up is CJ Mosley has officially retired after 10 seasons in the NFL. It sounds like he was actually going to make a comeback to the potentially to the Baltimore Ravens. It sounds like he's trying to come back this year, but he could just not get cleared because of an issue he had with his neck. So then end up he wasn't going to pass a physical, so he pretty much just retired. That's at least from what I understand of it. Because, if he would have been cleared, it sounds like he would have probably played... Sorry, I was trying to see if they said it. They did not. Yeah, if he's able to play, he for sure probably would have played with the Ravens. It sounds like they were trying to make something happen. He just wasn't going to be able to pass a physical. So it ended up what became... There's almost the deciding... Well, not almost. It did become the deciding factor on why he decided to retire. Shout out to CJ Mosley. Actually got his Baltimore jersey, funny enough, hanging up right behind me. It's just crazy because I actually remember... Like I said, this is starting to get to that point now in the NFL season where it's like, man, I would say probably... Yeah, the last 10 to 12 years has been when I would say, especially the last 10, but around 12 is when I finally have truly locked in on NFL and been like, all right, I'm going to try to remember all these players, all that stuff. So it's just, man, starting to hit that first wave of dudes I knew who's like, man, that guy's retiring now. I still can't believe the Aaron Donald one. That one's still just, can't believe he's gone, man. It still doesn't feel the same. Apparently, Rashee Rice and, is it Justin Simmons? Is that who? Oh, Josh Simmons, excuse me. Both those guys are going to be ready for training camp or expect to be fully available when they report to training camp because obviously training camp is not here just yet. If you remember, Rashee Rice tore his ACL and Simmons tore a patella tendon last season. So the fact that Josh Simmons is healthy and should be fully available, that's really good because a lot of people said that if he wasn't injured, it's easily one of the first, if not the second tackle taken in the draft. Instead, he falls to the bottom of the draft to the Chiefs in a position where they really need to tackle. This is one of those things where this guy's a guy, he's going to be there for the foreseeable future, and he's going to make a lot of money at the left tackle position. So it's going to be interesting what happens with him. When it comes to Rashee Rice, he just has basically, I don't know what his role is going to be. Now that they have Hollywood Brown, they have Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice are very similar. Not size-wise or anything like that, but play-style-wise, they kind of are similar a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, they need a deep threat, so I think getting Rashee Rice back will definitely help them with that. Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice could be a nasty little combo there. But, I don't know, man, looking at the receiver room. Also, there's the issue with Rice might be suspended because of he has some legal issues to also deal with that, depending on how long it takes, might go into next season. The longer it takes, expected to go into next season, but there's going to be a lot of questions when it comes to Rashee Rice. Obviously, with Travis Kelce being a little bit older, too, he has lost some weight, but the fact that he's a little bit older, you're going to probably want to get more out of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy during the season, so if they can get Rashee Rice back, that's going to be a huge part of the offense. And Justin Simmons, 6'5", 320-pound tackle. If he can get it figured out, Chiefs are really going to need him. Shedeur Sanders got, cited for driving 101 miles per hour in a 60. Sanders either has to pay a fine of $250, or he has to pay $250 for a fine. Oh, or fight the ticket. Okay, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I don't think you're going to fight that ticket, especially since it's $250. I think that's something where it's no question at all, easy, just pay it. But it's actually funny because Shedeur Sanders got pulled over for speeding, and then Zach Edey, same thing, got pulled over for speeding for 101 miles per hour. So it's just what are the odds of that happening 2 times? But there's nothing too crazy to take out of this. It's just a young guy driving fast. Basically all it is, obviously driving should be football. Let's just put it this way. Football-wise, not too much to worry about. It's just he was driving fast, got pulled over. Got a speeding ticket. Nothing too crazy. Sounds like the toe injury is not expected to affect Malik Neighbors when it comes to training camp, which will be good for them. And the last thing I want to bring up is Ravens have signed Jair Alexander. It originally sounded like the Packers and Jair might be able to make a deal. Sounds like they really wanted him to take a pay cut. He did not take that pay cut, so because of that, they end up releasing him. And now, Jair Alexander joins a Ravens team that is just stacked in the secondary. We broke them down already. What was that, last week? And I mean, you heard all the names I read, and now they're adding Jair Alexander in there. They're adding Malik Starks from the draft in there. I mean, it's starting to get to that point where it's like, it might be now for the Ravens. Now might be the time for the Ravens. And it's another question. This is way off topic, but I really wonder. I thought about this with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, I think, won 1 or 2 Super Bowls within like a 3-year span. And I was sitting there, and I was being like, man, I want to be careful. I don't know if I should. This was when I was really young, but it's like, man, I don't know if I want to root for Russell Wilson or Tom Brady, because if Russell Wilson starts to get too many rings early on now, he might be able to. Then he might end up with a lot, and then sure enough, end up with a lot. So when it comes to Mahomes, I almost wonder with how good everybody else is getting. I don't think will happen with him, but it makes you wonder a little bit. It's like, man, now that they finally got beat after the back-to-backs and everything, like, are we gonna have like 2-3 years now where like Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl, but the Ravens do this year, and then the Bills do, and then maybe the Ravens go back-to-back, and then the Bills do, something like that? Or is it going to be Chiefs bounce right back? That's what I'm very curious about. And when it comes to Jair Alexander, the deal, it's basically a 1-year deal worth up to $6 million in total. I think it's $4 million guaranteed. The other $2 million are incentive-based, and majority of the incentives are him just to play in games. So if he can play like 50% of snaps, 60% of snaps, 45%, I think are some of the numbers, then he'll make the full money. And the only issue is, though, he has only played in 14 games over the last 2 seasons. I think he's only played in 1 full season. Especially, I think it's in his career, but he's just really, really dealt with injuries. But yeah, I mean, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, Chidobe Awuzie, Malachi Starks. I mean, they're gonna have some guys in the secondary. So that does it for NFL news. Let's bounce now to. Let's go over some breakdowns, man. We're going to start off with probably the... You want to just do the Carolina Panthers? I think that, yeah, let's just break down the Carolina Panthers, man. So we're going to start off with their... I'll go with their 2 deep before... we'll do actually some coaching changes first. So it sounds like basically nothing too crazy. I think it's a lot of small stuff. But yeah, coaching-wise... It's basically all just like small changes, like secondary coach, linebackers coach. A lot of the staff is saying, which this is actually really, really good for the Carolina Panthers. I like their head coach. What's his name? It's the dude from the Bucks. I can't think of his name. I love him. I love the GM. I think that Dave Canales, that's who it is. I love Dave Canales. I love what he's starting to do with them. I love what the GM has done. And the biggest thing I was shocked about is David Tepper. He truly seemed to take at first when he came in, he was heavy in the media with stuff he's doing, all this and all that. And I won't lie, as the seasons have gone on, so far, you hear about him less and less and less. And there was even a moment in the draft, there's a video clip that came out. You see that Dave Canales and the GM, they look at Tepper, and he basically just sits there. I don't even know if he shrugged. I think he literally just sits there and doesn't say anything, just kind of looks off into space, just is kind of there to observe. And then they go back to kind of doing what they're doing. That's what you love to see. You really do. I really was happy to see that, because that was kind of just like, okay, maybe he is kind of learning, like, hey, I don't fully know in the football world. Let me try to learn a little bit, and let me trust my guy. That's the biggest thing, trusting his guys, because I won't lie to you. This Panthers team, I believe in them a little bit. Now, I'm not going to go crazy and say they're going to win the Super Bowl and anything like that, but I will say I do think they're going to take a leap forward from being just the absolute poopy trash can they were last season, or 2 seasons ago, because last season they did step it up a little bit, especially towards the second part of the season. And I think Bryce Young potentially might be able to take a step forward this season. But Bryce Young is your starter. Andy Dalton backing him up. Running back wise, you got Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, Travis Etienne, Raheem Blackshear will be the running backs. Teteroa McMillan, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow, David Moore are their wide receivers. Tommy Tremble, Jatavion Sanders, Mitchell Evans are their tight ends. And I actually don't know. Austin Corbett, their center, might be the leader on the offensive line. I really couldn't tell you. Defensive-wise, I got Derek Brown, Bobby Brown III, Tershawn Wharton, DJ Wanham, Christian Roseboom, Josie Jewell, Nick Scorton, Michael Jackson, Travion Warrig, Nick Scott, J.C. Horn, and Cha Smith. Cha? C-H-A-U? I don't know. I actually don't know how strong that. Smith Wade. Defensively, they definitely could use, I would say, I don't know pass rusher wise if I'm sold completely on their pass rushers, but I don't think they're horrible. Defensively, I definitely think they're a little bit lacking, but offensive wise, these are probably some of the best weapons that Bryce Young has ever had. I think Xavier Legette, should take a little bit of a step up this year. If Tedder Rowan McMillan, like his biggest thing is also another thing. On the third string for the Panthers, they have Jimmy Horn, who was a speed threat for Colorado. That could be a sneaky, hey, if he can get some playing time. He was pretty decent for the Colorado Buffaloes. But overall, I think offensively this team will definitely take a step forward. I think the biggest issue might be defense, but that's something that I think, not a horrible defense, not the greatest defense, obviously, but I think that's something where they can definitely start taking steps forward. But like I said, offensively, this might be the best help that Bryce Young has had. I mean, he's heavy targeted Adam Thielen last year. Now he has Ted Rowe and McMillan to also throw to. And then, I mean, yeah, I just can't get over the offense. The offense really is impressing me just because, like, when I went through it the first time and I actually saw some of their skill guides, it's like, I actually don't mind a skill group at all. This would be a skill group that I mean, running back wise, Chuba Hubbard's not horrible. I would obviously, if I could, I mean, you're throwing Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, one of those guys, you would obviously take it, but for who they have, I mean, they truly have a really decent squad, and I think this is a team, like I said, that might take a step up next year. Because we look at their schedule, you got them traveling to Jacksonville, traveling to Arizona, they're home for Atlanta, travel to New England in week 4. Week 5, they're home for Miami, home for Dallas. Week 6, at New York, home for Buffalo, at Green Bay, home for New Orleans, away trip for Atlanta, away trip for San Francisco, home trip versus the Rams. They get a week 14 bye, which would be, that's really late in the season, but it's not horrible. Definitely rather have it later than the beginning. Then week 15, they play New Orleans. 16 is home for Tampa Bay. 17 is home for Seattle. Then 18, they travel to Tampa Bay, who, in my opinion, I think Tampa Bay could potentially come down to the division for Tampa Bay, where it's like, hey, you beat the Panthers one of these 2 games, you win the division. But yeah, I mean, just looking at their schedule, it's not nearly bad at all. I just can't, like, the more I look at their schedule, I'll admit, at first I'm looking at it and like, that's probably an under for me. But then I look at it, it's like, well, I don't know if they'll beat Jacksonville, but I'm like, I could maybe see it. Could maybe see them beating Arizona. Maybe see them beating Atlanta. New England, maybe. I'd want to see a little more. Definitely could see them beating Miami. Dallas, maybe not. Jets, maybe. Buffalo, probably not. Green Bay, probably not. New Orleans, for sure, they probably could. Atlanta, like I said, probably could. Probably won't beat the 49ers, but it seems like that might be a Monday Night Football game. Shout out to them. Yeah, again, Monday night against the 49ers. Then the Rams, more, basically, yeah. And then, like, obviously, Tampa Bay, Seattle, maybe for Tampa Bay, maybe for Seattle. Just the more I looked at it, I'm like, honestly, they might win. They could actually maybe win a decent amount of games. If you look at their over-under, which is where the first part will go with the breakdown / bets area, I believe it's at 6.5, and it's like there is decent juice on. I think it's like minus 130, but that's one where I was looking at, like, if I had to pick, probably won't, like I said, this is probably one where I don't bet it, but I was looking at it like, it's not horrible. Yeah, over under 6.5 for them is minus 140. Odds are completely horrible, but the win-loss wise, I'm looking at it like, man, over 6.5 is not nearly too bad at all. I don't know if I'm going to personally be taking this mainly because of the odds. If it was like minus 120, minus 115, probably consider it, but I don't like how juiced it is. But I think they can win last year they won 6 games. I definitely, like I said, I think they're going to take a step up this season. I think they could maybe win 7 games. I don't know if they're going to get up to 8. I think it's probably going to be around 6 or 7 again. But I think it's going to be one of those things where, like, last year they won a lot of their games at the end of the season. I think and then they got beat bad in some of these games. I think most of the games are going to probably be pretty competitive this year. Obviously not every game, but I think a majority of their games they can be competitive this year. And even if they have the same win-loss ratio, if they can prove that they can be a competitive and good team, that's only going to do better for them next season. I just don't know if I want to bet this Panthers win-loss just because, like, do I really want to bet on the Panthers? I mean, last season, it was like an easy, like, oh, yeah, give me the under. And I think the under was like 6.5 like it was this year, but it was one of those things where it's like, damn, that actually got starting to get a little bit sweaty. I can't remember, actually, if it's at 4.5 or 6.5, but either way, it started to get, regardless of the point in the end of the season, I'm like, man, this is starting to get a little bit sweaty. This one I think would be, regardless, be a sweaty boy. Just because 6.5 games, especially for, like I said, They struggled for a lot at the beginning of the season last year, but definitely started to pick it up as the season went on. It basically just comes down to Bryce Young. If Bryce Young could take that step up like I think he will, there are two things I am very, very tempted to take with him. Unsure on one. The other one I'm kind of a little bit more sold on. The first one I'll give you, it will be the one I'm a little bit more indifferent on. Bryce Young over 18.5 passing touchdown. The odds for this are -122. I think he's thrown, I think it was like 13 2 seasons ago, 15 the last season. So this is a number he hasn't reached. But it's just one of those things where the more I look at it, the more I look at him. It's just like I said, I think he is going to take a bit of a step up this year. I think the room around him is a lot better. It's just when it comes to the goal line, there's a chance that they could just run it a lot more. They did pay Chuba Hubbard a decent amount of money too, but I just think he's going to step up. So it's one of those things where at over 8.5 passing touchdowns, it's not too bad. Him and Michael Penix actually have the same. So I'm not sure how, I'll talk about Michael Penix a bit later too, but I'm not too sold on the passing touchdown one. It's just something when I was looking through, I'm like, 18.5 isn't too bad. I like that. And like I said, last season he threw for 15, but I'm kind of torn on that one. The one I do like, though, that I will for sure be taking, haven't placed it yet, but will be being placed soon, is Bryce Young over his passing total, which is 3,150, excuse me. Yeah, 3,150 yards, and that is -114. I do think each year he's thrown for a little bit more yards, so I think this year is another year where he's going to throw for a bit more yards. To give you exact numbers, because I won't lie to you, reading it this morning, I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, so Bryce Young, for his career, 2023-2024, he threw for 2,800 yards, and in 2024-2025, he played... Oh, maybe I flipped these, actually. He only played 14 games. He only started 12. He missed 2 games, and he threw for 2,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. I might have actually flipped that by accident, where I thought I don't know. Touchdowns, the more I look at it, because, yeah, like I said, he threw 15 last year. I forgot he missed basically 2 full games and didn't start 2 of them. But I just think it's his team to lose. I don't think he's going to get benched this season. The only way he doesn't play some games, I think, is because of injury. But I just think he's going to step up. I mean, last year... He had 2 years ago, he had 315 completions for 527. Last year, he had 234 for 84. So the completion percentage is up a whole percent. The passer rate is up 10. The yards went down a little bit, but the yards per game went down a tad bit. But the interception to touchdown ratio is a lot better. He took a lot less sacks. I mean, you just look at his stats and everything about it was like, you can see the improvements now. And then last year was a brand new year with Dave Canales. This is year 2 in the system. So I just keep looking at it as like, yeah, I think Bryce Young should be able to step up in this. It's just going to come down to, basically just going to, I don't know, basically come down to Kenny. I don't know how to describe it basically, but basically just can he keep progressing? I was going to try to find a way to just like be a little bit more specific about it. But basically, can he just keep progressing in what he's been doing? He showed I think last year towards the end of the season, he kind of showed us like, hey, I can play in the NFL. I can be an NFL quarterback. I get them a little bit smaller, but I can do this. And so now it's just a matter of, like, this is going to be the, like, I don't want to say prove it year, but that's kind of what I guess I was looking for. It's not totally a prove it year, but it's kind of like a prove it year where it's like, hey, we've seen the progress. You got benched last year. You were able to start back again because of the Andy Dalton injury, and you played a lot better after the benching. Did the game slow down for him? Is he able to progress in the passing game? Is he able to make better reads? Is he able to take full control of the offense? These are things I want to see out of Bryce Young as the season goes on. When it comes to rushing-wise, I didn't even think about looking up Chuba Hubbard's stats. I don't think I'm going to take too many player stats in this team, especially because offensively, if I was going to take anybody's, we'll look at Chuba Hubbard's rushing real quick. Receiving-wise, they only have Tedero and McMillan's up. I'm good on that. I want to see him kind of prove it. And then Xavier Legette, I don't know truly what to expect of him. I might take something Adam Thielen-wise if they ever come up with that stuff. That'd be one where it's like I would be tempted to, because him and Bryce Young had a really, really good connection last year. So that'd be one where I am tempted in. But, yeah, like Chuba Hubbard, they don't even have his rushing option up. So that's what I thought. Because I just thought about it, I'm like, man, I didn't even look up Chuba Hubbard's. Let me check it. Oh, yeah, that's why I didn't look it up. They didn't have it. So that's another thing. I mentioned this Thursday in case you missed it. I will be going back throughout the summer, and I will be checking on teams that I missed. Like, for example, if they had more Baltimore Ravens props, I will be going back through and looking at those again, and we'll talk about that probably middle of July, maybe end of July. I'll through one of those. Probably end of July, actually. Yeah, probably end of July. Once I finish all the breakdowns, I will go back and pretty much just say like, hey, these are all some futures I logged. We still have to do college breakdowns as well. So if you're wondering why there's some stuff missing potentially betting wise, I will be going back and looking through and just talking about that a little bit more. I just want to at least get out some of these introductory stuff because there's stuff like they do have the passing props for quarterbacks. They do have some rushing props for some running backs. And the biggest thing I want to get out is these over-unders, man. Because, like, I don't know if this Panthers one will move too much. I'm probably not going to be betting it too much. But the Saints one has already moved. The Giants has moved from 3 to 5. And then the 5 went from super juice to heavy juice. Like, there's a decent amount of movement. So I want to try to get some of these done before we officially give them out in July when I basically have a full episode. Just like, hey, this is every NFL future. Kind of want to give it out now. So that way, like, hey, sprinkle some here, sprinkle some there, sprinkle some there, sprinkle some there. So that way we aren't showing up, 17 days before the NFL season. It's like, all right, I got 50 futures, and I do not have any of the money to bet on it. So we'll just slowly start pacing them, slowly start placing them here, placing some there, taking it on. So that way, by the time, like I said, we reach July, late July, early August, we don't have to be placing futures. We can just kind of talk about, like, hey, these are the ones I like, these are the ones I'm kind of nervous about, and hey, these are maybe 2 or 3 you want to add, and you have the chance to add because, hey, these are all placed. But when it comes to the Panthers, it's probably where I'm going to leave it. Like I said, we'll look for more maybe later when it comes to rushing. But the one I'm iffy on, over under 6.5 wins. I am on the over, not betting it because it's minus 140, but I do lean the over. I think they're going to finish. I think their max they're going to get is 8 wins, I feel like, in my opinion. 7 is probably more realistic. So that's going to be one if you do take the over. You might be sweating it for a minute. And then Bryce Young over 18.5 passing touchdowns. Really close to betting that. Haven't taken it yet. The one I will be taking for sure, though, is Bryce Young over 350.5 passing yards. I do think he does have a better season passing the ball. But like I said, the more I look at his stats, you can see the progression everywhere. It's just a matter of will he progress? Can he keep up the progression? But that does it for the Panthers. Now we take it to the Atlanta Falcons. I guess I kind of forgot to talk about the divisions this episode, too. So last year, obviously, with the finishing, Tampa Bay finished first. Panthers tied the Saints with a record of 6-12 each. And then basically that leaves the Falcons, who finished one game behind. Sorry, I couldn't. I was just spacing it. Were they 8-9 then? No, they were 9-8. Sorry, they were 9-8. Bucks were 10-7. I think coaching changes are basically the same. They brought in Raheem Morris last year. I don't think. Raheem Morris is back with his second stint, so he stays the same, obviously. Zach Robinson is going to be hired as the new offensive coordinator, so there is a change at the OC. DC, Jeff Ulbrich is now coming in because they did fire Jimmy Lake as a DC. So new OC, new DC. Jeff Ulbrich, if you remember, head coach at the Jets before. He was fired there. Defensive line coach was also let go. And then they have a defensive passing game coordinator that's new. Offensively, TJ Yates was promoted to pass game coordinator. They have a new quarterbacks coach. Yeah, other than that, everybody else kind of stays the same. No other big change. But yeah, they do have a new OC, do have a new DC. So, Michael Penix already in year 2. Already having a new offense. So that's going to be a testament to him to see how smart he is to be able to, whatever you call it, just keep learning in the offense. Quarterback-wise, still crazy to think that they have Kirk Cousins on their roster, but is Michael Penix ahead of Kirk Cousins? I mean, that was still just craziness from last year. Running back-wise, they have Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Carlos Washington Jr., Elijah Dotson. If I had to assume it's going to be the 1-2 combo, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, one of those two guys they named for 3 and 4 might back him up. You got Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, Cordero Hodges, Casey Washington, Jamal Agnew, Kyle Pitts, a tight end with Charlie Warner, Felipe Franks, all there. Wasn't Felipe Franks a quarterback at one point? Chris Lindstrom, I believe, is the longest tenured offensive lineman there. Defensively, you got Morgan Cox, Rook Ohoro. That's rough. I apologize for completely butchering your name. David Onemata, Leonard Floyd, Caden Ellis, Devon Diablo, Jalen Walker, who was their rookie draft pick. AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, Jordan Fuller, Mike Hughes, and D. Alford to round it out. Younghoe Koo still their kicker. Yeah, this is a team, like I said, that went 9-8 last year. The quarterback play, I don't know if it's fully to blame for it, but Kirk Cousins looked bad in some games. So I mean, it was still, I feel like, a little too early on to start Michael Penix last year, though, at some games. And eventually they just couldn't. Like, it got to a point where I'm assuming they probably wanted Penix to sit all of last year. Maybe even sit for a little bit of this year before he got the start. But Kirk Cousins was so bad, they just basically had to pull the plug on that idea. And it's like, all right, hey, we got to get this guy in. We can't let Kirk Cousins keep playing because he is just destroying this offense right now. So it's going to be nice to see what Michael Penix can do in year two. Can he step up? Can he keep... Basically, it's similar with him and Bryce Young. Can he progress? Can he keep showing us what he can do? But, man, when it comes to their schedule, they start off the year home versus Tampa Bay. Then they travel to Minnesota, travel to Carolina. Then they play Washington at home. They have a Week 5 bye. Absolutely brutal. I mean, Week 5 bye, that's probably one of the worst byes you can get because now, yeah, they don't get another bye the rest of the season unless they can manage to get a bye in the first round of the playoffs. So they have to play, what is that, basically 13 weeks straight? Sheesh. You got the Buffalo Bills. Oh, they home for Buffalo Bills. Travel to San Francisco. Home versus Miami. Travel to New England. The Colts game, I believe that is in Berlin or Germany. I don't know where. I think it's I think Berlin's. The game's for sure in Germany. I just can't remember where it's being hosted at in Germany. They're home for the Panthers, away for the Saints, away for the Jets, home for Seattle, away for Tampa Bay, away for Arizona, home versus the Rams. And this is a good home game to have. Home versus the Saints to end the season. I know that is a very big, nasty rivalry, but there's a chance that game at the end of the season for the Falcons could be like, hey, you win this game, you win the division, and the Saints are by far, out of all the teams on their schedule, probably the one they want to play the most, especially because their schedule is NFC West, and AFC East, so they're playing some decent teams, especially like, it would have been a lot better to catch the Patriots last year with Gerard Mayo than it would have been this year with Mike Vrabel. I would not want to play Mike Vrabel at all this year. That Colts game, that's just tough for them that they have to travel to Berlin, and then at least they're home. But yeah, travel to Berlin. So it's basically travel to New England on November 2nd. November 9th, they're playing in Germany against the Colts at 9 a.m. And then the 16th, they're traveling to they're back home for Carolina before they travel to New Orleans the week after. Like I said, just having a Week 5 bye was tough. If they could have had that the Germany game, that probably would have been the best. But yeah, Week 5 bye is not going to be good for this team just to have it that early. But like I said, when it comes to this team specifically, expectation-wise, I don't know fully what to expect from him. I don't know what to expect fully from Michael Penix, because that's basically what this team's going to come down to. I know the running game's going to be pretty good. I know that, and that's another thing too. Offensively, I'm really curious to see how much changes in their offense. Like, is Bijan Robinson now going to be the main primary back, and Tyler Allgeier is going to get some spill? Or is it going to be like how they have done it a lot of the last couple of years, where it's basically a two-back system, even though Bijan might get basically a two-back system, but it might be 60-40. I don't know, man. There's a lot I have questions about. Their over-under win total's at 7.5, so they're looking at 8. And if we pull back up the schedule, I think that could be doable. It's kind of where I'm leaning. All that damn grunting, boy. I don't know what I want to do. I think they could beat Carolina. They split every game in their division. There's 3 games. Maybe they beat the Saints twice. There's 4. They could potentially beat Seattle. There's 5. I definitely think they could beat the Jets. There's 6. I think that if I have to pick, I would take their over. This is another over I'll probably just lay off of, but yeah, over 7.5 wins for the Atlanta Falcons. It's minus 130, so it's not the worst juice ever, but that's definitely, books are telling you, like, hey, we're definitely leaning towards that over a little bit. I'd probably agree with them on that case. I just, like I said, I don't think this is anything I'm going to take. I'm just not a big fan of, I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't be shocking if at the end of the season you have 6-7 wins, and it's week 14, and you basically, I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios I've been playing in my head where it's just like, I can't get myself to take this over-under. I won't lie to you. There's a lot of Falcon stuff. When I was looking through, like, so far, on my first look through, it's like, man, I don't know if I want to bet this. Especially learning that they have a new offensive coordinator. One thing I would be tempted to do is maybe Bijan's rushing over. But let me recheck what that was, because I ended up not writing down my first look through. So this is pretty much like a live reaction to me seeing if I'm going to be taking Bijan's over. Bijan Robinson's over-under is at 11.50, minus 1. I mean, I think a lot of these are going to be minus 114. Yeah, I don't know. I do think this team is going to start running the ball a decent amount more. He rushed for 1,400 last year on 304 attempts. I actually might bet that. I might bet Bijan's over, honestly. That's one that I didn't realize it was that. I forgot how high it was, honestly. I would over 1150.5 rush minus 114. Yeah, I'm actually this one live that I'm going to add to the bet slip. I do think I'm going to take his over. I mean, he had 976 on 214 carries in 2023. 2024, they basically give him 90 more carries. He's able to turn 976 yards into 1,400 yards. 14 touchdowns last year. Versus, I'm pretty sure Tyler Algier probably is going to be getting a little bit less touches. I'm assuming it's to the point now where Bijan's, he's been in the league long enough where they're like, yeah, he's our guy. We love you, Tyler Algier, but we want to give as many carries as we can to Bijan. Yeah, looking at his career for Tyler Algier, 1,000 rush. I mean, it's gone down. Maybe it's not much, but so carries wise, 2022-23. This is the year before Bijan. 210 rushing, 1,000 rushing yards. The former, I thought he went to BYU. 23-24, he had 186 for 683. And then last year, he had 137 for 644. Game started 7-3-0. So, and touchdowns are 3-4-3. That's all. The touchdowns are the only stat that doesn't truly trend down, but same with its average per carry, I guess. Yards a game have gone down, 64 to 40 to 37. So it seems like they slowly are, like, they're still going to give Algier a decent amount of carries so they don't overwork Bijan, but it's starting to seem like Bijan's the guy who's going to start taking more over in this offense, so I do not mind his over at all. I don't think they have rushing touchdowns out yet, so we're going to have to wait on that for him, but yeah, I do like his rushing over. Receiving-wise, if they have Kyle Pitts and Drake London, we'll take a quick peek at those, but I don't think those are two either ones to see. Kyle Pitts is not up here. Drake London is at 1,050. I don't think so. I think that is one I'm going to lay off. I do think he's going to have a good year, but I just don't think that's something I want to take. Last year he had 1,275 off 100 receptions and 158 targets. Yeah, I don't know. His targets have been 117, 110, 158 the last few seasons. He's caught 79. He caught 72 balls in 2022. The year before, or a year after that, he caught 69 in 23-24, and then 24-25 he caught 100. So, yeah, I'm going to stay away from his over-under just because it seems like last year was like a massive, massive year for him. So it's one of those things where I want him to prove it. Like, it's like, okay, prove it to me that, like, you are this. I mean, I know he's really good, but I want it to be proven, like, hey, you are a 1,000-yard receiver before I hop in on that. I am very curious to see target-wise, too. I mean, we talked about the wide receiver room. I'm not going to lie to you. I definitely, like, if I had to pick, I think I like Drake London more than I like any of the Panthers receivers, but wide receiver room wise, I think I'd take the Panthers wide receiver room over the Falcons. And I mean, you might call me crazy for that, but I don't mind. Like, I don't mind these guys. I don't think they're horrible guys. It's just, I don't know. Darnell Mooney's not horrible, but I think I'd probably take Xavier Legette or Adam Thielen over him. Ray McLeod, probably take Xavier Legette or Adam Thielen over him if I didn't as well. I just, yeah. The more I thought about it, and the more I've looked at it, it's especially, that's basically why I added the Bijan one last minute. Best way to put it. When I look at Atlanta's skill group, it's like, man, they got some decent names. It just feels like they're missing like that smaller, bigger name, if that makes sense. Like one of those dudes you look like it's like, oh, that's a bigger name guy where he might not do as much as he used to do, but it's still like a name where it's like, hey, that's a guy you can kind of rely on. Because if it's third down, Drake London's double coverage, and you can't throw to him, there's Kyle Pitts, there's Darnell Mooney, there's Ray McLeod. And you just look at that, it's like, I don't know. Like I said, I still don't think they're a horrible room. It's just one of those rooms where I look at it and it's like, yeah, nothing that jumps off the paper. I think it's still a solid room. And like I said, I'm still taking this team's over. I still think this is going to be a great team. It's just, yeah, stat-wise, I just don't know. They don't jump out to me, so I wouldn't be shocked if Drake London hits over 1,050 receiving yards for his over. But personally, for me, I just can't get myself to take it there. Michael Penix to throw over 18.5 passing touchdowns is minus 122. I'm not going to take his passing yards in general, and I just want to bring up his passing stats. Probably not going to take those. I just wanted to bring them up because just basically to give out the number. I don't think I'm going to take anything there for that. Like I said, I think I'm basically only going to take the Bijan one for them. It's going to be lighter division. When it comes to the Falcons in general too, the more I've looked into their team, the more it's just like, I like some of this. I like bits and pieces here and there. I don't like the full pie. It's basically like, a half and half cake. I like half this cake. I'm not a fan of the other half of this cake. And there's just like, like I said, there's some stuff I like here. Other stuff, it's like, that's right there. That's what I'm like, not the biggest fan of. But overall, the Falcons, I think, are going to be pretty decent next year. I think they are going to finish second in their division again. I do have the Bucks probably winning their division. That'd be my guess. If the Bucks aren't winning the division, I am going to bet the Falcons. I will tell you that right now. So if I had to, let me get you some. In fact, yeah, let me get you some odds for that. Because I believe it's like plus 280. The Bucks are plus 100 to win their division. I believe the Falcons are plus 280. I don't mind that at all. I would consider it if I wasn't going to be on the Bucks. Like, that might be a situation where I'm on the Bucks, and then for whatever reason, mid-season, if the Falcons are like 2-3 games back, maybe bet the Falcons, see if they can make a little bit of a surge. Or if I just don't know. I'm between the Bucks. I'm between the Falcons. I just can't get myself fully there yet to take the Falcons. That's why I'm just like, let me just trust. I trust in the Bucks a little bit more. I like a little bit more of their team in total. So let me just fall back on them. Yeah, Falcons are plus 230 to win the division. Panthers are plus 380. Saints are plus 1,100. If I had to pick a division order, it's probably going to be the way they had the book out here. Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints. That's probably how I would do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if maybe the Panthers jump over the Falcons. I don't think it will happen, though, honestly, like that. I'd be a little shocked, actually. Let me take that back. I'd be a little bit shocked. I still think Atlanta's a good team. It's more of a thing where they have to prove it. I've seen now the Panthers grow, like, just this core. Like, I saw Bryce Young actually step up a little bit last year and play a little bit better and improve in the second half of the season. So it's like, okay, let's see what he does next season now. Michael Penix, nothing gets him. I just want to watch a little bit more. So that's why I'm kind of, like, indifferent. A lot of the stuff I say might sound just, like, not full. I'm just not fully confident in the way I'm viewing it. Because, like, I'm looking at it as, like, okay, I think Michael Penix should be decent. I'm not going to be taking his passing over because it's, like, 3,400 or something like that. And it's just like, man, I don't know what to expect him to throw for. There's just a lot of unexpected stuff with Michael Penix, and I just need to probably watch some more tape just to get an idea of it. And I also just want to see him play more games in the NFL because he has the talent. He has some throws that are good. He's also I don't know. Like I said, I just want to see more. The biggest thing is I just want to see more. And then basically what it comes down to the Falcons is just show me a little bit more. Prove it to me a little bit more. And I wouldn't be shocked if, like, say the first 2 or 3 weeks go really well for them, if by week 4 in the season we're talking like, hey, I like this Falcons team over this Bucks team. But as of right now, I just can't get myself away from them Bucks. So basically, to end it before I give out my bet specifically for this, division order, I got the Bucks going 1, winning this thing for the 5th or 6th year in a row. Falcons are probably going to be number 2, and I think it's going to be very similar to last year, where Bucks win like 10-7, maybe 11-6, but probably 10-7. Falcons are going to be 9-8, and then I think this is where it changes a bit. I think the Panthers are going to win like 6 to 8 games. I think it's probably going to be around the 7-8 game range, so I think they'll be at 7 or 8. And then the Saints, I don't think they're going to be able to compete too much this year. I think Rattler's going to be okay. He's obviously going to start the season. It's just going to be a matter of how can he play. I do think the Saints are going to be a lot better than they were under Dennis Allen, but like I said, I like the Panthers a lot more than the Saints this year. I definitely like the Bucks a lot, and the Falcons, I just don't know. The Falcons are the one team in this division where I'm looking at, it's like, I can see you guys being really, really good. I could also see you guys winning like 5 games, and it's just like, I can't put my finger on either, so it's just, hey, let's just watch them and see what they do. But my official bets, or futures, my official futures for this division, we only got 3 of them. We got Bryce Young over 18.5 passing touchdowns at minus 122. We got Bryce Young over 3,150 passing yards. And we also have Bijan Robinson over 1,150 rushing yards. Some bets I do like, haven't placed. By the way, like I said, those first 3 I just said, Bryce Young's passing touchdown over, Bryce Young's passing over, Bijan's rushing over, locked in, for sure taking those are being added. Ones I'm kind of thinking about, Panthers over 6.5. Like it, don't love it, so it didn't make the list. And then for the Falcons, over 7.5. Another situation. Like it, don't love it. If you combine, if I want to be stupid, I might just combine those 2, make it a 2-leg real quick, throw like half a unit on it, and be like, hey, now I got something on this. But I don't know. I'll probably end up staying away because I do like the Bryce Young stuff, and I do like that Bijan rushing. The more I looked at, like, that was one I was completely indifferent on. Came on the show, looked at it one more time. It's like, I actually really like that. And then I think, like I said, he's probably going to get more carries again this year. I don't know if it's going to be, like, more rushing attempts, like he's going to outpace his rushing attempts from last year, but I do think it's going to be, at least the rushing pace can be similar. Wouldn't be shocked if the yards are more. I definitely think he'll get a little bit more touches than Tyler Algier, because basically that's how it's been trending for the last 2 years. But thank y'all for watching. Thanks for support. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed next Tuesday. We'll probably go over the AFC South, to be honest. Anthony Richardson sounds like he's going to be fine, ready for training camp. So we're just going to break down the AFC South. Like, I'll probably just do it as Daniel Jones starting, and then I'll throw in Anthony Richardson here and there. I think they're basically, I don't want to say the same player, but I think one gives us 1 or 2 more wins than the other does. I would say Daniel Jones maybe elevates them to like a guaranteed 1 or 2 more wins, while Anthony Richardson's like potential ceiling could be 3 or 4 extra wins. It's just a lot of speculation there, but I will break down probably the AFC South next. If not, we're for sure going back to the AFC South. If not, I mean, AFC West might get a dabble too, but I'm probably going to go AFC South just to talk about my boys and go over the Jags, the Titans, and the Texans, man. But like I said, that's going to do it for today. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you for all the support. We're officially 2 full divisions down. We got 3 to go on each side. Crazy to think that, like I said, we're 77 days away from the NFL season. 11 weeks from now, we will have a Week 1 game on Thursday Night Football, and man, absolutely beautiful. Tonight we got the Pacers going in Game 6, see if they can keep their season alive. Shout out to the Florida Panthers, who last night won the Hockeys. They are now back-to-back, I said national champs. They are back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, so shout out to the Florida Panthers there. W's going crazy. Baseball's deep in its season. Sports are just doing their thing, man. It's officially summer. It's been summer. Next week it's going to be so damn hot. But thank y'all for watching. Thank you for the support. Really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed on Tuesday, like I said, for some more NFL news. And we're breaking down an AFC division.